Hey Liz, here I am.
Hello everybody. We often talk about mistreated and so-called failed groups on this channel. But today we want to take a look at the girl group fromis_9, which debuted back in 2018 and has steadily grown in popularity since then, with receiving multiple music show wins and surpassing an astonishing 100,000 copies sold on their latest album. fromis_9 are considered a successful group now. We'll take a look at their career paths, starting from the reality show that formed them, all up to their earned success now. Contrary to the usual process of a group being formed by a company with talented trainees, fromis_9 is a group formed by survival show idolschool, which aired in 2017. The name stands for From Idol School as well. Idolschool was a girl group reality survival show broadcasted by Mnet. A total of 41 trainees competed for a spot in the final group of 9 members. All the trainees on the show were supposed to be individual trainees, not being signed to any company. The final group would be decided through live and online votes. Unlike the produced series, the final group formed would be on a permanent contract and would not have a short temporary one. Years after the end of the show, former contestants came out and exposed the horrible conditions on set that had to be endured. The sleep room for all the contestants had just recently been built, so it strongly smelled of paint. It also wasn't ventilated, so if anyone moved their blanket, dust was everywhere. It was also revealed that the trainees were not allowed to eat freely and were weighted frequently. If somebody gained weight, they were given 1 meal a day. This happened to everybody on the show, when there were even trainees as young as 12 years old. They were also completely isolated from the outside world, and any contact with their parents was prohibited. As their filming location had no windows, the trainees had no clue what time it was and were exhausted and confused. This even escalated to the point where some girls broke a window to escape. All the girls were also given a list of words they weren't allowed to say. These included "we're trapped" and "this is manipulated." Due to the inhumane conditions for the contestants, health started to deteriorate fast and major health effects started to be noticed among the girls. It was also revealed that the 3,000 auditionees for the show were only invited and filmed for editing, as almost none of them were actually picked for the show. Individual girls were selected and invited to join before the auditions took place by the producers. After enduring these circumstances for 11 weeks, the final lineup of fromis_9 was decided to be made up of Stardom, Hajong, Yuli, Jiwon, Jisun, Soyeon, Chaeyoung, Nakyoung, and Jihyun. It was also announced that fromis_9's debut would be managed by Pledis Entertainment. However, the group was finally managed by Stone Music Entertainment, with Pledis Entertainment helping out from time to time. In October that same year, fromis_9 premiered its own reality program Fromis Room, which centered around the group's path to debut. After the show ended, fromis_9 released a pre-release single titled Glass Shoes. They also performed the song for the Mnet Asian Music Awards at the end of the year. At the end of January, fromis_9 finally officially debuted, with their first mini-album titled Too Hard, with the title of the same name. The EP debuted at number 4 on the Gaon album chart, and the album was sold over 22,000 times physically. While being an impressive number, it did stay behind expectations compared to other groups formed by Mnet survival shows. Girl group IOI, which was formed in 2016, was able to sell over 80,000 physical copies with their debut album. Still, the music video for Too Hard was able to surpass 5 million views. In May, just 3 months after their debut, it was revealed that member Gyuri would be joining Produce 48, a new survival show by Mnet, as a contestant. She competed in the show that later decided the lineup of the massively successful temporary group izone. However, she was eliminated in the 11th episode, ranking 25th place. In June, it was also announced that the group would be coming back with their second mini-album, To.Day. member Gyuli would not be able to participate in the album due to her participation in Produce 48. The album peaked at number 4 on the Gaon album chart like their debut did, but recorded declining sales of about 20,000 physical copies. The music video for their title track was able to surpass 10 million views until today. In September that same year, it was announced that Fromis 9 would be moved from Stone Music Entertainment to their newly established subsidiary Off the Record Entertainment, also home to newly debuted girl group izone. In October, Fromis 9 returned a third time that year with a special single album, From 9, including the title track Love Bomb. Member Gyuri also rejoined the group after her elimination from Produce 48, making the group a 9-member group again. The album, despite being a single, reached rank 3 on the Gaon album chart and recorded over 36,000 physical sold albums, a big increase compared to their previous mini-album earlier that same year. The music video for Love Bomb has also reached over 25 million views as of today. In March of 2019, Fromis 9 was invited to a variety show and was instructed to play the Pepero Kiss game. The game included 2 members eating from both sides of a Pepero stick, and the team with the shortest remaining stick wins. The members of Fromis 9 followed the instructions and played the game, which resulted in some of the members getting really close to each other or even kissing. The matter blew up online, and a lot of people reacted with disgust and hate towards the girls. Others were mad for putting the girls in the situation, as it had just been 1 year into their careers. 4 members were minors at that time, so it was an uncomfortable situation for a lot of people. And till this day, photos from the challenge are being shared around despite the clip being edited out from the variety show they did it in. Fans are constantly trying to stop the circulation of these pictures, but people keep spreading them. For a while, the group was mostly famous for this incident, and it did not do them any favor. 8 months after Love Bomb, Fromis 9 released their second single album, Fun Factory, including the title track Fun. The music video was able to surpass 20 million views, and performance videos of the song also surpassed millions of views. The physical album reached rank 2 on the Gaon album chart alongside an astonishing 60,000 physical copies sold, almost doubling the sales of their previous album. In July of 2019, another Mnet survival show called Produce X101 was suspected of manipulating votes in favor of specific trainees. The matter began spreading like wildfire and became a huge controversy, later titled Producegate. The Seoul Metropolitan Police started an investigation of the matter in August, of not only the mentioned show but all seasons of the series. The promotions of the 2 active groups at that time that were formed through these Produce shows, being X1 and izone, were put on hold. In October, the investigation was expanded even more, now investigating the production behind idolschool as well. With more and more details being released, it was also revealed that the producers of idolschool were also guilty of rigging votes and manipulating the show. Reports stated that 10 contestants were unfairly eliminated from the show and that the trainees' ranks were eliminated a total of 233 times during the show. Some of the producers involved were arrested and sentenced. However, the entire controversy majorly harmed the groups that were formed through these shows. izone, the most popular one at that time, was sent on a month-long hiatus before returning in February of 2020. Boy group X1 was even disbanded because of the controversy right after their debut. Fromis 9 was put on an unannounced hiatus from November 4th, the day before the Produce 101 producer was arrested, until February 11th. There were no Instagram posts by the members during that time, only birthday posts were released. They also stopped doing V-Lives, which they held super frequently before. The birthday V-Lives that they held were all pre-recorded. Fromis 9 suffered immensely from the scandal, and people were accusing the members of unfairly being part of the group. It's important to mention that the show was rigged by the producers, and that none of the members had anything to do with the manipulation. All 9 members of Fromis 9 worked super hard to be part of the lineup, and have continuously been doing their best to represent the group in the best light possible. In this case, the members of the affected groups are the victims in the situation and should not be blamed. At the end of January, an official Japanese website was opened up, teasing their upcoming Japanese debut. However, due to the pandemic, the release was delayed. More than 2 years later, no news have been shared on the project. In September of 2020, more than a year after their previous release, From9 returned with their third mini-album titled My Little Society, along the title track Feel Good Secret Code. Member Soyeon had to sit out of all promotions for this comeback due to a leg injury. The album reached rank 3 on the Gaon album chart and was able to sell over 55,000 physical copies, marking a small decrease in sales. The music video was able to accumulate over 24 million views as of now. In May of 2021, the group returned once again with their second single album 9-Way Ticket along the title track We Go. The single album was able to surpass 58,000 physical sold copies, and the music video has accumulated over 22 million views as of now. In August, it was announced that From9 would move from off-the-record entertainment to Pledis Entertainment that had been involved in their management since the beginning. Off-the-record entertainment would be integrated to CGENM's new label Wake One. It's important to mention that Pledis Entertainment had been bought by HYBE in May of 2020, making it a subsidiary of the biggest company in K-pop right now. With the Transferral of From9, the group was suddenly the only active girl group under the massive company after the disbandment of girl group G-Friend earlier that same year. Expectations were high and people were curious to see what the impactful companies could do to benefit the group. However, some fans were skeptical due to the incompetent management of Pledis' own girl group, Priston, a few years prior. Just 1 month after the company change, From9 returned with a special single album. The album was only able to surpass 23,000 physical copies due to it being a special single album. The music video has surpassed 22 million views as of now. But most importantly, From9 was able to take home their first ever music show win 1 week after the release of Talk and Talk. This was yet another big achievement for the girl group, and fans all around the world shared their support as they topped the global trend list of Twitter that same day. With Talk and Talk being released immediately after the company switch, fans were curious to see what amazing achievements could await From9 after being under hype for some more time. And so their fourth mini-album, Midnight Guest, was announced to be released in January of 2022. On January 17th, the group released the album alongside the title track DM, and the group went through the roof, breaking their own records left and right. The physical album was able to almost triple their previous record and recorded an astonishing 104,000 physical copies sold in its first week. Until now, the album has surpassed 150,000 sold copies. The music video also surpassed 25 million views on YouTube, and From9 was able to take home not 1, but 2 music show wins for DM. The song was also able to surpass their previous records in terms of charting, and remains their highest charting song to date. From9 has come a long way as a group. Starting off their career through a brutal survival program, the group has steadily climbed higher and higher, proving time and time again that they are capable of more. Even with the big controversy surrounding the show that created them, they did not lose hope and eventually came back even stronger. When they were given less frequent comebacks, the members pushed through and used every way to promote the group. The Transferral to Pledis Entertainment was only the cherry on the cake, as the girls were promoted better than before and are finally now experiencing the success that they deserve. They also recently held their very first fan meet, which was scheduled for 3 days. The tickets for all 3 days sold out within a minute. From9 has always had a strong fan base, with millions of views of every release and thousands of physical albums sold. It is indeed unfortunate that they were only able to take home a music show win with their 8th comeback and are only now experiencing the well-earned success that they are right now. The group clearly shows that hard work pays off, and with a little luck, great things do happen. Thank you for watching.